Now, I think everyone wants freedom. I believe that's genetic. It's inherent within the human. We want to be free. We are seeking time and money freedom. I believe there's an underlying force that brought you here because you're looking for this. It takes me where I go because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for time and money freedom. Now, what do we really mean by that? We want to be able to do whatever we want, when we want, with whom we want, wherever we want. If we want to go somewhere, we want to be able to go. Yet we don't want to have to ask ourselves, can I afford it? Now, this doesn't mean that you just frivolously throw money away. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about if you won't go into a clothes store and you like a garment, you get it. If you go into most clothes stores and you watch people shop, first thing they look at is the price tag. Very, very few people are driving the car that they would really like to drive. Most people don't take the vacations they'd like to take. The world is a fascinating place, and it's a very interesting place. For the past 30-some years, I've gone into many different countries and different cultures, and it's just mind-boggling as we travel around. Well, I think that that's what time and money freedom gives us. And as I found out, I heard someone say it one time, and I found it to be true, that you will be absolutely amazed how much free time you have when you never have to think about money. When we have money challenges, it consumes an enormous amount of our time. It really does. And there's no need of it. We don't need to do it. Now, at one time, I would never have believed that. I had a man sit down with me in Toronto back in 1960-61, and he put an R on a sheet of paper. And then he put 3 letters down beside it. He said, Bob, let this represent happiness. This is health, and this is wealth. Then he asked me if I thought he was a happy guy. And I said, yeah, he seemed pretty happy to me. He said, have you ever seen me when I was broke? And I said, no. He said, have you ever seen me when I was sick? And I had to say no. Well, he said, you've got to be one of the most miserable people I have ever met. And you know, I was. I really was. I knew what he was saying was right. He said, you are just plain miserable. Yeah, and he said, you're always broke. You never have any money. And I never did. He was actually being kind. I was earning $4,000 a year at the time, and I owed $6,000. I was worse than broke. I mean, I was going backwards. I often say I was in the passing lane, picking up speed, but going in the wrong direction. Yet he said, you're always sick. Now, he said, you don't have a terminal illness or anything, but you've always got a headache or a cold. He said, why don't you change your results? You know, to tell you the God's truth, I never thought of it. You'd say, well, you must have thought. No, I never really did. I really didn't have any hope. I mean, my life was just not very happy. See, if I had taken every cent I earned for 18 months to pay debts, I would have just broken even, and I would have had nothing to live on for 18 months. So you see, the idea of getting out of debt, it just never really entered my mind. Oh, I would have liked to, but I never thought I could. I could not see a way out. And you know, I think that there's a lot of people live that way. Yeah, you get to a point where it's just sort of that's your life. That's just the way it is. And you get sort of numb and you accept it. And he said life doesn't have to be like that. You see, I had no formal education. I had 2 months high school. No one in our family ever went to school. When you got 15, 16, they asked you, are you going to go? Well, I said, no, hell, I'm out of here. You know, I didn't like school. I started to study this before I had any children. I just changed one question. It changed their whole life. I didn't ask them if they were going to go. I asked them where they were going to go. You know, the smallest little change can make an enormous difference. Well, I had no business experience. I had just a horrendous work record. I got out of school. I worked in factories. I went into the Navy. I went in an ordinary seaman. I come out a naval seaman because they have to make you a naval seaman after, I think, 18 months, something like that. I had nothing going to my credit. I got out. I was working in bars and in factories. And I was sitting in a fire hall when I met this man. But there was something about the way he approached me, the way he hit my mind, that although I didn't believe in me, I believed in his belief in me. This guy was so adamant that I could change. He said, do you know that there's absolute laws governing happiness? He said, the earning of money is an exact science. And he said, you've got an ingenious system built within you to keep your body in excellent working order. He said, you can have anything you want. The most erudite scientist alive can't even guess at what you and I are capable of. And he was talking about me. I could feel, I mean, he was right into me. He said something that stuck. He says, success is about goals. Now, I didn't have any goals. The only way I think of goals of soccer or hockey or something, I never really thought of goals as something you work toward. But he asked me what my goal was. Well, of course, I didn't have one. Then he gave me this book to read. And the author says this is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. In this book, the author says there's a secret in this book. Yet he said if you can find the secret in the book, you can have anything you seriously want. Well, of course, I didn't believe that. But you know what I have found? You don't have to believe it. If you write a lie on a card and you read it often enough, you're going to start to believe it. Yet you see, he tells you in this book to decide what you want, write it on a card, and then read that card as often as possible every day. You just keep reading it over and over and over again. And so I wrote what I wanted on a card. I wanted money. I honestly believed if I could get these people off my back, everything was going to be fine. I wrote on the card that I wanted to have in my possession by New Year's Day of 1970, $25,000. I did not believe it would happen. But I kept taking this card out and I kept reading it. Yet I put it back in my pocket. One day, one of the guys in the fire hall saw me doing this. And they said, Proctor, what are you reading? I said, nothing. You know, jam it back in my pocket. He said, come on, Proctor, you're reading something. What is it? And then you know what guys can be like. And one said to the other, I think maybe Proctor's got something in his pocket about us. I think we should see this. What do you guys think? Well, before long, I'm on the floor, and they're going in my pockets, and they're pulling out my gold card. It said by New Year's Day of 1970, I will have in my possession $25,000. Well, everybody started laughing. Proctor's going to get rich. Hey, guys, come and listen to this. Yeah, they'd read the card to them. Now, I can remember that day as if it was yesterday, and it's almost a half a century ago. I was embarrassed. And I've often thought back, what a sick environment that was. Here's people laughing at me because I am attempting to improve the quality of my life. But what's even worse is I was embarrassed because they found out. Now, fortunately, I didn't throw the card away.